I'm gonna go ahead and add more plants to my 2.5 gallon aquarium that I'm using as a propagation terrarium. Now, recall I put a teeny weeny Sigmorsis bacilla orchid right over there, and you can feel this moss, it's still wet. It whipped up too much moisture that it killed it in no time. So sad. So I have way too much sphagnum moss up here in the meantime, and I kind of want to get rid of all that. I think it looks ugly and just keep it with the regular peat moss. Anyway, for the time being, it's getting cold outside and I have certain carnivorous plants that I want to continue growing even through the wintertime, and some that may not even survive outdoors this winter, like my Drosera spatulata. I don't think it forms a hibernaculum. Quote me if I'm wrong, or leave a comment, let me know if they can actually survive in zone 7. But I don't think they do. So the spatulata is a huge wad of Drosera, and I kind of don't like it being so like ball-like. So anyway, I'm gonna put segments in places, separate this and let it grow more flat and horizontally. See, this soil has mica and things. It's a weird kind of soil that came when I bought this versus the typical plain sphagnum or sphagnum peat moss, but I'm gonna put one up there just for that. And these, I think I do need to cut these flower stalks. Don't know if there are any seeds in here I can salvage. These have been sticking out for a while, but at least the spatulata is very easy to propagate from leaves. This one I think is one of the easiest, fastest to produce new leaflets. I'm not gonna I should have pruned these before I stuck them in here, but I wanted to show you the stalks. What have I here? Oh look, there is a little teeny weeny plantlet on this one. Are they growing from the... That is so weird. I'm gonna have to keep that, and I'm gonna put it on the other side in the sphagnum moss and see if it does anything. That is just so weird. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and remove these annoying flower stalks that are dead and continue to plant this in here. So as you can see, it looks so much better with all those flower stalks trimmed. Now, I want to make sure I'm not going to be burying any spatulatas. It's funny how they grow so vigorously compared to other sundews even. But this is going to be tricky, but I'm going to have to, I think I'm going to put them, just flatten them here, even though I have those African violet leaves, and I have some peperonias I'm going to stick in here as well. I bought a really cool variety. I'm not sure what kind it is, but it was at a local nursery and I loved it. So I'm just going to press these in. I'm not too worried if I do a little damage to these plants, because if they do get some damage, at least they'll form new plantlets from the dying leaves. So these propagate so readily, it's unbelievable. So I'm not too worried, but I'm going to keep a little distance so that I can see the new seedlings sprout with the African violet. But since these are such a small variety of sundew, as you can see, they're about as big as a dime or nickel for the bigger ones. It makes such a great foreground plant. You can see a little plantlet there even. So, I think I felt something break on that one, but like I said, no problem on these. But yeah, when you have them in such a big ball like that, and then you have to repot them, it does become such a pain. I do have a Drosera, I think it's an intermedia that I forgot to bring in, but I may, keep that outside this week. I think it will be fine, even though the weather is getting colder. Okay. I think I can still stick one here without being an issue. This will be nice, having a nice carpet of sundews. I do have a little too many for this setup though, don't I? Okay. Don't like the fact that they were growing on top of each other. This I may have to pot in a different fashion. You know what, I'm going to sprinkle that seed pod on the other side, see if I do get any seeds to sprout. And then, okay. Let's see, I'm going to set this on there so I don't have to mess with it as much for the time being, but let me separate them, let them grow against the glass in the back. So as the sphagnum moss wicks moisture, it's going to keep them wet, and hopefully they'll stay alive, and then I can put them back outside when the weather gets warmer. Now, I have some other plants I brought from outside. The King Henry was sitting soggy water, and these are a couple King Henry Venus flytraps that I had outside. I also took the one out of the failed 2-gallon conversion that I'm going to stick in here too. This one, since I don't have that wood, I shouldn't have to worry about fungus growing back on it. I hope I'm not going to shoot myself by not having cleaned it first or anything. I might just rinse it in a little distilled water, but for the time being, this is the butterwort. You see it's not doing good even outside. It got too much water. Butterworts like it a little drier, and this tank has enough airflow that it should be fine, and I'm just going to set it there for now. And then these are some Venus flytraps I propagated earlier in the year, but the way I had them, they were getting way too much moisture, so I'm going to let these grow somewhere in here, if I can find a space, so that they can mature. Now, I'm going to use a little piece of zip tie fragment to just get these little plantlets planted, and then I'll watch them grow over the winter months. Okay. I think I'm going to just move that there and put those there. Okay. Excellent. Now, I'm not trying to deliberately show you my hairy arms, but here are the two King Henry. In case you're not familiar, King Henry is a cultivar with some larger flytrap leaves once they're mature, but they're not the largest. I can actually take a few of these plantlets to propagate, but I'm not going to do that for the time being because these haven't been happy sitting outside in a tray of water. I have some live sphagnum moss. I'm going to set that there. And it's a little messy, but as these establish, it should start looking better. And I'm going to set the King Henry somewhere where I'm not going to be confusing them with the generic form that is not any specific cultivar. So let me stick that down in there. Now this African violet, unfortunately, was, ooh, the leaf broke. It rotted. Okay. So we're down one violet, and then this Venus flytrap leaf died. I'm going to take it out. The others are fine. There's a dead trap there. Let me show you right here. You can see the live green, and then the trap is dead. But I've had them sprout that way before, so I'm not too worried about it. Now here is the King Henry Venus flytrap that was starting to do better. And I don't see much fungus on it, but I do want to prevent any from growing in this media, so I'm going to soak this in a little water, and then I'll put it somewhere in here. I bought this Peperomia from a local nursery. I really love the coloration of the leaves, and these propagate in a similar fashion to Venus flytraps. Of course, I work about an hour and 45 minutes from where I live, so it's like during the week I live in an apartment, and then on weekends I'm at home, so I gave it some water, and apparently these don't like too much water. So I had to go and purchase another Peperonia as a replacement, and you can see how beautiful these plants are, but they propagate similar to African violets. So that one I want to plant, and this one, the carcass, I want to see if I can salvage any leaves, which I can probably salvage some from this one. And let's see if this one leaf is fine. Nope. Anyway, I have one leaf that I can salvage, and I may take a couple from the other ones when I transplant, and I'm going to stick them in here and see if they pot. So to pot it, I'm going to have to like trim this. Okay. And I'm going to have gently take the leaf. Whoops. These are so much smaller and sympathetic, or sympathetique en français, than the African violets. So let me just puncture a little hole in the media, stick it down in there, and dab it. Okay. As you can see, I didn't use rooting hormone. They say that rooting hormone speeds up the process. All this powdered hormone, the only time I seem to have found it useful is when I used it in botany lab back in college, but I put rooting hormone on plants and it doesn't seem to do much help sometimes, so I don't use it that often. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and soak that King Henry Venus flytrap that I showed you in some water, and then I'll stick it in here. And then I'll be done with this for the time being. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and happy planting.